Manchester City, a team synonymous with dominance, is falling apart. 5 consecutive defeats, a humiliating 4-0 loss to Spurs, and whispers of a crisis that are growing louder by the day. But how did we get here? And more importantly, can Pep Guardiola even fix it? This isn't the Manchester City we know. Last season, they swept through the league, lifted yet another Premier League trophy, and the season before that, well, they completed a historic treble. But now, they're second in the table, trailing Liverpool by 8 points after just 12 games, a 5-game losing streak, capped by the brutal loss to Tottenham Hotspur. All of this has City fans asking questions they never thought they'd need to ask. What's gone wrong? Let's start with the defense. City's defensive solidity, one of their trademarks, has completely vanished. They've already conceded 17 goals, more than they allowed in the entire first half of last season. Ruben and Josko Gvardiol, 2 really high-level defenders on paper, both of them look far from their best. It's as if City's once reliable defensive structure is crumbling game by game. Then there's Rodri, in my opinion the single biggest factor. Guardiola's entire system hinges on Rodri's ability to control the tempo, dictate the play, and shield the defense. But since his injury during the Arsenal game, City have looked like a shell of their former selves. Without Rodri, the midfield lacks control, creativity, and composure. It's gone from a strength to a glaring weakness. Guardiola has tried several solutions, Kovacic, Gundogan, Rico Lewis, but none of them can even get close to replicating Rodri's all-encompassing influence, and that's a huge problem. There are defensive frailties, the lack of midfield control, and then there's the attack. Sure, Erling Haaland's numbers look great, 15 goals in 17 games in all competition, 12 league goals in 12 league games, but those numbers mask a bigger issue. The fluidity that made City's attack so lethal, it's gone. Gone are the intricate passing moves and seamless transitions. Josko, despite flashes of brilliance, has been very inconsistent. Meanwhile, Julian Alvarez's absence has been felt far more than expected. Here's a stat for you. City have scored the same number of goals as 11th place Brentford. Let that sink in. But then you think about the summer transfer window. City's business was solid on paper. They brought Savinho for £21 million from Girona and brought back Gundogan on a free from Barcelona. I thought both of them were really good additions. Savinho to me kind of showed glimpses of a Riyad Mahrez while at Girona, and while we know how important Gundogan was for City in his previous stint. On the sales side, they earned over £150 million by offloading players like Cancelo, Julian Alvarez, and Harwood Bellis. It seemed like smart business at the time. After all, this was a squad that had just won the treble 2 seasons ago, had just won the Premier League last season. But hindsight is a funny thing, isn't it? Was the lack of major reinvestment a mistake? Could they have done more to prepare for the challenges of the season? I don't really know. And then there's Guardiola himself. As much credit as Guardiola deserves for City's success, and let's be clear, he's earned every bit of it, his stubbornness and his constant tactical tinkering are starting to draw criticism. His use of inverted fullbacks, overloaded midfielders, and frequent player rotations have disrupted the team's rhythm. Against Spurs, he fielded 3 players out of their natural positions. Experimentation is in Guardiola's DNA, but right now it feels like it's hurting more than helping. Off the pitch, things don't seem much better. Reports suggesting growing tension in the dressing room, with apparently key players being frustrated with Guardiola's demands, while others feel they are sidelined unfairly. So what's next? City's upcoming fixtures aren't doing them any favors. They face Feyenoord in the Champions League, then travel to Anfield to face league leaders Liverpool. After that, they have tough games against Nottingham Forest, Juventus, Manchester United, and Aston Villa. It's make or break time for Manchester City. Guardiola needs to find consistency in his tactics, his lineup, and his squad's mentality. Players like Bernardo Silva and Phil Foden need to step up, while Gundogan, Kovacic, and Rico Lewis must adapt faster to the defensive midfielding area than they have so far. The reality is this. Manchester City, well, their season hangs in the balance. Their defense is fragile, their midfield is disjointed, and their attack lacks its usual spark. If anyone could turn it around, believe me, it's Pep Guardiola. But here's the catch. Guardiola is unsackable. He's just extended his contract, meaning City have no choice but to ride this out. And Guardiola has no choice but to find a solution. And I do genuinely believe that he will. I think the squad is still really good. Yes, they're old. Kyle Walker, one of their best players, is really old. old, like they have a really old squad, but I still believe Guardiola is that good of a manager. City have that good of a squad that they will figure it out eventually. It's just about when they figure it out. City's aura of invincibility is shattered. The title race is slipping away game by game. So do you guys think they can salvage their season? Let me know in the comments below.